Good morning. This is Mrs. Fox, and today we are talking about using Crayola Colored Pencils. This is the 24 set, and we are going to focus on some basic color building. There are an assortment of reference photos to choose from in beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels, so whichever one you have chosen, go ahead and cut that out, and we're going to glue it down where it says, well, it says tape. I'm going to use a glue stick. Whichever way you want to turn it is fine. I'm going to turn mine this way. And then, of course, we are going to put our name on this. Always put your name on your work because you know it's going to be fabulous and you don't want someone else to take credit for it. Now, in full transparency, I am using this, and I am also using the reference on my computer. Our focus today is building rich, gorgeous color. We're going to identify and examine all of the gorgeous colors in this reference, and we're going to build them just using the 24 set of Crayolas. So the first thing I'm going to do is a light contour line drawing. As you can see, this is not a drawing exercise so much as it is a color building exercise, because these are three very simple shapes, but there are so many colors working together in here, and that's what we want to focus on. All right, let's start with some basic color building. We're going to start with our darker values first, and I'm just going to put a couple layers of blues. These are Crayola, so sky blue and some light blue. Let's put a tiny little bit of this aquamarine and a little bit of regular blue, maybe a hint of violet. So I'm just going to work the dark values for a few minutes and go ahead and get those built up. So even though this is a red jelly bean, remember the colors that help your local color being the color of the object. So local color red, local color yellow, local color purple. If you want your red to be darker, you don't press harder on your red. You add some cool colors underneath, and then when you add the red on top, you have a nice dark red. I'm not going to put too much blue in this yellow one because we'll end up getting green, because, you know, of course, blue and yellow make green. So we're going to hold off on this one. Lots of oranges and reds I see in there. Let's take a minute and recap here how we're layering these colors. In the dark parts of the red, I've added some blues and some violets to make the red darker. In the shadow, again, blues and violets, and I just added a layer of this magenta over top. And as you can see, the magenta is here over top of the blues and violets, making this really nice, dark, purpley, reddish shadow. But then when I put the magenta out here, where the shadow is more warm and chromatic, over top of this yellow, it's a completely different effect. So, you know, you wouldn't want to just take this magenta and just do a layer right here by itself, or you would just have a really intense layer of magenta. If you think about colored pencil as a group effort, all these colors are helping each other get much more rich and beautiful. So as you're watching the rest of the tutorial and you see me layering different colors together, it's because I want there to be this beautiful, rich, translucent new color. You're building a new color that is original to you. It's not a color straight out of the box. This is like a custom. Think of it as like a customized color. And yours will be unlike anybody else's depending on how many layers of magenta, how many layers of red, how many layers of orange. It's a customized experience just for your work. That's the other thing that makes it really cool, is it's, you know, colored pencil is such an individualized medium. So I'm going to throw some of this magenta in here because of this nice, rich, reddish, purple, orange. I mean, this is just a really beautiful shadow on this yellow jelly bean. And depending on how far we want to take it with these light layers, remember, keep all your layers light until the end. At the end, if you want to start pressing a little bit harder to mix everything together for one final push of color, that's fine. You just don't want to push too hard because we're drawing with wax. And once you get too much wax on the paper, you can't get any more, and then you just have a nice big slimy mess. I think we've all been there. That's no fun, especially after putting in hours of hard work. So, it's kind of like a patience thing. It's a Zen thing, kind of relax and mix your colors together. Think about how lucky we are to be able to do this. There's kids who don't have the ability or the supplies to be creative. So I'm always mindful, and my kids are always mindful of how lucky we are just to be able to make art. And so as you see me add different colors, just know that I'm trying to get, like in here, I'm going to add some pinks, maybe some light lavenders. I'm going to go in with a lot of different blues and violets in here to make a nice, rich, dark violet. I'm going to go in here. There's even a little light green tint right here. And there's some lime green back here. So if you see me pick up a green, it's just because I'm after that customized color. Remember, patience is key. As I'm getting close to the end, I am making sure that my values are correct. In here where I need to have some darker places, I'm going back in with my dark blues and my dark greens and my dark violets, especially in here and here, any place where I see that it needs to be dark. And I'm putting another couple of layers of those colors on, and then I'm coming back on top with the local color and, using the different reds and red oranges and blues. So, it's just a constant layering process. And as I'm getting closer to the end, I'm pressing just a little bit harder to fill in the tooth of the paper. The tooth is the bumpiness of the paper. The values are the most important thing to make the objects look three-dimensional. And as far as the richness of color, you can take that as far as you want. So that's up to you as the artist. Remember to add some of the colors of the objects into the shadow to make it nice and rich. You see I floated some yellows and some oranges and some reds in here. Even here in this little area, this is actually a green jelly bean. This is another dark blue jelly bean. I just took some of the greens and the yellows to give this a nice glow, put a little glow of blue on here, a little glow of green. And then now that I'm getting toward the end, I'm taking these little circles, I'm pressing just a little bit harder, and what I'm doing is I'm pushing the wax together. So I'm pushing the layers together to get this nice finish of even color. Remember, don't use harsh strokes like this because those are super hard to blend. As we're approaching the end here in the time lapse, you'll see, me pressing a little bit harder, you'll see this get more vibrant. So, here it's a little more light and it's, kind of dull. This is a more vibrant finish. And what happens with the yellow, as you press it into these layers of orange and red, is it almost activates the orange and red. See how it makes it intense? Kind of serving two purposes. You're blending everything together, but you're giving it this nice, vibrant finish. And these little circles will help just push the wax together evenly so you don't have harsh, messy spots in the drawing. You might see me add some more colors in if I think I need to, like here, I think I could use a little more red-orange. So same thing, I'm just pushing a little bit harder, massaging the color into the color that's beneath it to create your own customized rich color. And once you get used to this, you'll know exactly what to add to get the finish that you want. It's all a learning process. I like super, super rich colors, and the more colors you add into an area, the richer the finished color will be. That's just like a universal law of nature. If you need something to get darker, like super dark, pick up a blue or a violet. Like I think this could even get darker right in here. This contrast of value, this really super dark against the light and against the mid, that's what really makes your work stand out. If you go that little extra mile with your values and your colors, not only will you be thrilled with yourself, but when people see your work, they'll just be amazed. Because remember, your work is an extension of you. It's a reflection of you. Nobody has to meet you. All they have to do is see your work to know who you are, to know if you work hard, if you're careful, if you're neat, if you take pride in what you do. All these things are obvious with your work. And that goes for everybody, myself included. As we finish up these jelly beans, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about this reflection. I worked around it. If you color this whole thing in red and then you try to go back over it with white, you're just gonna get like a milky pinky color. So I just worked up close to it and then I just let the paper do the work. Your takeaways are mix, 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 mix. Lots of colors together. You saw that I grabbed pink and red orange and even a little yellow orange in here because this is next to this and so they reflect off of each other. That's why this is red right here. Use your cools, your greens, your blues, your violets in your dark areas, in your shadowed areas, underneath your local color, tiny little strokes, light layers until you get to the end. Push all the wax together into this nice, bold, waxy finish. You need to be patient. All good things take time. This is probably going to take you, a couple class periods. Just enjoy the process because the result is impressive. Don't let the work scare you. That's why they call it art work, because it's work. And it's a reflection of you, and you are fabulous. You want a nice, fabulous finished drawing. Show everybody how dedicated you are to your work. So thank you for watching my tutorial. This is Mrs. Fox. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.